got thumbs up. So good morning to everyone. This is our Facebook Live work session in preparation for our meeting on Tuesday, March 2nd. And we have everybody slipping in under the wire here, or right at the wire. I'm really excited today for us because we've got, I'm going to call this our technology day, so we've got two presentations that I think are just really exciting. And the first one is going to be Daniel and Lyle have done an interactive map. So, and I used it this morning because I was looking on the agenda for where we were going to be doing dilapidated structures, and I wanted to see what wards they were in. I knew where a couple of them were, I didn't know where one of them was. And so I went to 725 South Jackson, and I pulled it up with the overlay, and then did the ward overlay, and it's in your ward, on the bone ward. But I didn't realize it. I wanted to make sure before I did it because we had that ward change, and it was really cool. So we got a demo, and I'm excited about it. I think it's great. Very citizen engaged opportunity.
And this is the first of many products we rolled out. This is sort of our initial catch-all map where we're trying to show as much information as possible. Later on, we're going to break out more specific maps to specific topics like historic preservation, some stuff that's with our current CLG grant, some of that information we're going to add to like a storyboard map. We're meeting with other departments next week to kind of rope everybody together to get on the same page and share data across platforms. So the way you access this is go to the homepage of cityofstarkville.org, and then we've added this button, Interactive Map. It will pull up and you'll get a splash page like you do in a lot of things. Just agree to that. And this is your initial view. The initial view is showing an overview of the city of Starkville with the base map of just a basic street map. Then you can zoom in, and as you zoom in, you'll notice parcels start to populate. So as an example, we'll just zoom down to Highway 12, just randomly choose a parcel. If you click on it, it'll give you some basic information. Not any like personal information. This data is data that is created or maintained by the city of Starkville. So we don't assign like parcel IDs or parcel numbers, it's just our data. But if you want that data, at the bottom of, which I'll get to the layer list again, there's a Oktibbeha County parcel. So then when you click on it, you'll see that you have one of two things displaying, and you can use the arrow to go over, and then this is the actual streamed from the county, their information, their current information.
So Daniel, you and I have talked about this before. The limitations right now is that the Oktibbeha County information is
their update
slow
schedule
to update.
Is like yearly, where we try to update every time something's been approved. So for example, Adelaide, we just recently approved phase 3, which we're showing here. And then if you look at the county's data, they haven't added it yet. It'll probably be added sometime in July or September.
So as an end user, what we need to know is it's a good clue at the county level, but probably still has
if you're trying to take a deep dive, if you're doing something that is a function of your job or a real estate agent, you might want to look at the county data to pull a little bit more information. But if you're wanting to see what happened like in the last 2 weeks, like what been subdivided, use the Starkville parcels. And so that's why it's the default layer that's on. And you'll notice with a lot of layers, it grays out when you zoom out. And that's just because it doesn't want to overpopulate the map. So it's based on the zoom level before it'll actually appear. So back to Highway 12. Actually, that's just Vicar Residential. So as an end user, you can search your address up here, and just like Google Maps, it'll bring you to an overview. Then if you want to find out information about your property, you can click on the zoning districts. Then once you touch it, again, it shows the one of two. So here's the street information. Then that's the zoning district. If you want to find out more information about the zoning district, you can tap the Unified Development Code, look at setbacks, use, and everything associated with that zoning district. And it's something that we're still working on. This is live right now, but it's going to be taken down after this meeting, which is pretty neat, is trash pickup. So you click on that, and it just tells you what day to expect service in that area. And if you zoom back out, we've added some other information. This is just kind of our first blush of adding stuff. We obviously have the wards. Click on a ward, it'll give the alderman's name plus their contact information based on what's on the website.
Thanks.
I put the home address if you want. Then we've also added some other information like fire stations. So for Fire Station 4, you have their direct phone number, their non-emergency line if you're trying to just call that station for a question. We've also added parks, which we want to make this a little more robust in the future. It just gives you some basic information as address and the name of the park. Eventually, we'd like to add like what amenities are offered at the park, maybe some contact information, hours, stuff like that. We also have the leisure districts. So if somebody is curious of where the boundaries are, they can actually know. And you can always hit this button right here if you're using it on a mobile device. It'll tell you where you're at in relation to the leisure district. And I'll hit the F12. This has also been formatted to work with different mobile devices. So here we tested it in the platform of how it would look on different things. So you can pick like what type of device. We sort of went through some of the most common ones, like what does it look like on an iPhone? How does it act? How does it act on an Android device? And so it's real similar functions. The buttons are in similar spaces. They've kind of been condensed a little bit. This X is killer.
Yeah, you're good.
And then, another important aspect of providing information is for developers. So if you're a developer coming into town and you're looking at a parcel, let the server catch up. I don't think it liked us going back and forth.
No. Want me just to zoom in on one?
Okay, so we'll just take any random parcel.
Oh, it's because it's trying to use the geolocate. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go. You're good now.
Now I can zoom in.
You should be able to. It was trying to keep us at City Hall.
We're still learning too. So we know there's some development pressure occurring up here. So the developer obviously has access to information such as the zoning, what's allowed. But then they also have added information as far as like some contours that are based on like the 30-meter grid contours provided by the federal government. You can turn on information such as creeks, if there's any creeks in the area. We've added in the wetland data that's provided by the state. Watershed data, if you really want to take a deep look. But a really important one is the flood hazards. And so this data is coming straight from the federal government. So a developer can quickly see some of the constraints a particular lot he's looking at immediately. So that when they call us, we can have a more in-depth conversation and not start at 30,000 feet.
They got the actual flood map numbers on it, or it's just a general view of the flood?
Well, this is the, let's see what information is. It doesn't show with the map.
It does indicate which flood zone they're in and usually what firm ID, panel number, and all those things. Yeah, it does display that.
Okay.
And this is directly from, at least in this map, from, I believe, FEMA, from their
Yeah,
flood map.
and so this is something we don't maintain, we just link into here. So if FEMA came in tomorrow and modified these lines, it would immediately show up on here. We would not have to do anything, unless they changed the link address. And we're also working on some of the voting information. We still have to verify and make sure some of this information is correct.
For voting locations,
Voting locations have been added for aldermen. Voting locations by ward. So you can zoom in, for example, this one has multiples. They're actually in two different buildings. So if you click on that, it'll give you the address and what wards are there. And then you click on that one, same thing, the address and what building it's in.
And is it linked, the election, when, say if I live at 110 West Main, if I put that address in there, is it gonna tell me where to go vote?
Based on, well, so if you go to 110 West Main, then you turn on the ward, you know what ward you're in. I guess we could add that information.
It's a computed field that we can add. It's just
Yeah.
not added yet.
so wherever you can put your address in wherever you are, and it'll give you where to go vote.
It can.
What ward and what-
It can. We have the ability to add a lot of it.
Yeah.
And then up here, there's a separate search bar. for, if you're looking for a particular parcel based on its PIN number, you can put it in there, and then it'll search from the county's record and pull into that PIN. So.
That is just incredibly neat.
And the neatest thing about it, this is data that's been generated by various departments, various government agencies for years, and we've been using it for a while. We just didn't have access to the interface to make it public. And so we were able to do this because of an upgrade to our current subscription with Esri. Zero cost, so this map cost nothing for us to produce other than allow them time. So.
Which is high value, but
yes,
it's definitely.
but it's better than hiring out a consultant and then having to work through all that. And then now we're able to change it on the fly. So.
Yeah, that is just.
And then the background layers are really cool. I didn't really touch too much on that, but you can switch it to an aerial view. The aerial's a little fuzzy when you zoom in, but it's fairly recent in the world of aerial photography. So you can see the College View development's been built, Vista's been built. The Oakville is actually under construction, so it's not too old of an area. But if you zoom in real close, you're not going to see like you do on Google Earth. But hopefully that'll be updated here in the future. Right now, this is just a free version that we can use. So.
Cool. Questions? Start here, work my way around.
Daniel and I actually talked about this recently, and one of the things that I think will be also helpful is when engineering department and streets gets integrated into this, and we can add the capital plan. We can add information about the last time the street was overlaid, that sort of thing. And I'm sure with utilities we'll do similar things with water and sewer. So
That's why he's going to meet with the department.
Yeah, we've been in discussions with that. The roads layer that we have on here actually has a lot of information on it. Can't shoot it.
There it is.
So there's more information on it than we really knew. I think Andrew Nagel did this years ago, so it's not, the fields haven't been updated in a while, but he had included stuff like obviously the name, bus routes, he had the right-of-way width, he had stuff about pavements, speed, so he's got a good basis for us to go from. It's just picking up where he left off and working with the engineering department to make this shape file become the official map. So.
Mike, anything?
Well, I did a little test drive on it earlier. And it's something I use every day. I'm just tickled when you get a great job.
The ability to pull up on your phone, like it's really sharp on your phone. And if you have a tablet, it's even better. So.
Well, it's awesome, and thanks to it. I know it still took some work, even though.
Well, it's actually kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than writing a report about, variance applications.
My question is I don't think it's going to be enough to say, hey, folks, here it is, go check it out. I just think that the average person at home is going to be difficult. So what's the best way to think of getting folks in front of this? And I don't know, like, is today's meeting, can we use that and share it on social media? And while you're giving the demo, do we take the monitor when we send the meeting out, or are we just looking at us sitting here, wow, that's cool?
I guess you can answer that several ways. Like right now, the initial map, it's there. We can tell people go. They can kind of play around, push buttons, get a feel for it. And like I said, in the future, we're going to tailor these maps down. Like the average citizen doesn't really care about the watersheds or the creeks or that kind of stuff. They mainly want to know when's the trash pickup, where's my property, shows, where's it shown at, basic stuff like that. Whereas engineering, when they get into it, they're going to want to show easements and roadway widths and, very specific information. So as we go forward, we'll start tailoring maps for different users rather than right now it's sort of like a big lasagna of just everything. We're going to start taking out layers and sticking them off to the side so that depending on what you're trying to do, the information's there.
Well, and I'm going to take it a step further, because one of the things I would like to think about and have the board think about is maybe dovetailing with utilities and using Shecky to push out information for the city. This would be one of those kinds of things that we push out. And he's already engaged with utilities and has been for a year or two maybe now, I guess. But I think maybe if we tagged along with that, with a little, whatever that additional bump would be, then we could get some of this kind of information out there on a regular basis, which I think would be really cool.
And at the end of the day, it's really, you've got to get in there and play with it to figure out how you can use it and how you will use it.
Is this live now?
Yes, it's live now. The only thing that will be removed after this meeting is the trash layer.
Yeah, just because we haven't worked out the
Yep.
details of it.
Chris is just now seeing it. So.
And it's currently on the front page of our website, so it is active.
Yeah, as I said, I used it this morning to check out where exactly 7.5 South Gomes.
Yeah, and the link is static, so if you save it as like a tab on your browser, it's always there. It doesn't change, even if we update it. So.
Cool. Anything else? Anything on the
Great job. Great job.
I just really stoked. I think it's great. So.
It's fun to play with.
Yeah, that's really neat. So kudos, guys. Kudos. All right, that's number one, technology, and then we have second technology by Mr. Clemens here, who is working on our text pushing platform.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
we could maybe push this out on the text
Absolutely.
platform.
That was very cool, guys. Good job. So yeah, in the spirit of really getting information out there, you'll find on your agenda for this meeting an item from my department, and it's concerning the mass communication system. So this is something that we've been looking at for a while. City leadership's been very interested in it and asked us to research different possibilities. We appreciate their interest and support, and we think we've come up with a great solution here. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about this. It's called Civic Ready. And so one of our major things we looked at was, does this integrate with our ecosystem now? So we're a Civic Plus website customer. And so we have a lot of functionality through Civic Plus. They offer this Civic Ready, which dovetails in with our website functionality, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But it's more than just a texting system, and I'll talk to you about that. So functionality details. So you can send unlimited SMS text messages, also emails, but also text-to-speech. We can give you a phone call, and you will get an automated voice reading whatever the text of that message is. And people can sign up for any or all of those, or whichever channel they want to receive those messages in. You can sign up, and we'll talk a little bit about how you sign up, because there's several different ways. We make it super easy, or it can be a little more granular. There's also a real superlative about this is the back end for us administrative users in all the departments. Whichever stakeholder in each department is going to be driving this. We have several public-facing departments that really get a lot of information out there to people. And that's the power of this. We want to use this tool, so we want to empower those departments to communicate regularly and timely information to have access to this in a very easy way. So it also sends these things out very quickly. So just a couple of quick numbers here. So when you push this out, how quickly does it go out? 12,000 of the text-to-speech messages per minute, 60,000 SMS per minute, 50,000 email per minute. I would love to hit those levels with signups, but I think this will accommodate more than accommodate our use case. Also a cool thing, multiple languages available. There's about 10 or 12 languages that you can select. We're a college town. We've got a robust international community out there. This is going to serve everybody. And so again, just a little bit more about the channels that we're pushing out: email, SMS, text, voice call. Also integrates seamlessly with our social media. The city also already does a great job on social media, the city as a whole and individual departments, but not everybody uses social media, and even those that do, they may not see a time-sensitive message, in a manner that would make that information useful. There's also a mobile app that we'll cover here in just a little bit, and as I mentioned previously, it integrates already with our existing website. So we have a few pieces of functionality on our website: news flash, alerts, our calendar, many different modules where this integrates seamlessly with. You can push from those modules out to this system. Again, just talked about that. It integrates seamlessly with our social media and even the sub accounts that we have. So we have a City of Starkville account. We also have PD, sanitation, utilities. We can set it up. It's very customizable on the back end to hit those different channels. Really cool thing, geo-targeted notifications. This was one of our things that we really wanted to have with this. So what's that mean? You can go into the interface, the administrative interface, and draw a line around, say, a neighborhood that's affected, or you can do a circular radius. You don't want to spam everybody in town or everybody that signed up for this if it's not germane to what they want to know about. So for instance, think about all these great utility upgrades in the neighborhoods we've been having over the last few years and continue on. You could draw that map there around any of those neighborhoods and they can just get regular updates. Hey, this is progress, this is what we're doing. And you can save those templates and just kind of, if you're going to communicate with those people regularly over a year or whatever, but you can also draw them on the fly, and you can import those Esri shape files into this as well. So really cool, very exciting stuff here, and I can imagine many uses for this. The granular group management on the back end, this is more for us that are going to be in the back of it. You can make so many different user groups based on interest, based on location, based on the channels they're subscribed to. So it's super granular and very powerful. So we're excited about it. How to sign up, it's as easy as you want it to be. So there's a couple of ways and a couple of caveats. So one way to sign up is through the web interface. So we'll have this linked on our website. You'll go to that link. You'll put your email address, your phone number that you want to receive SMS to. But if you want to take advantage of the geo-targeting, you must, of course, put your address in there. You don't have to, but if you're a member of a neighborhood or an area of town that you want to get those targeted messages for, then you do need to do that. Also, through the user app that you can download for free on the App Store, on either App Store, you can sign up through that. And also for those that just want to text a number, and we can set up unlimited numbers of keywords. So what if we just want a special event channel and people just want to know about parades and stuff like that? You can text parade to this number and you're in that. So you don't have to go to the web interface. You don't have to get the mobile app. You can just opt in by texting a number. And so back to the mobile app for residents. A lot of people prefer it that way. Your alerts would show up if you wanted them to as just a notification on your phone, just like anything else. It also allows you to kind of go in on the fly and customize your settings. If you decide you want to jump on another channel, you want to get more information about this, or you want to opt out of one that you decide you don't want to be a part of anymore. And you can see some archive posts. You can go back and look at the last few messages that came through there. And then finally, the mobile app for administrators. This is cool too because you don't have to be sitting at your computer screen to push these out. If there's an emergent situation and you're on site and you're one of these admin users, you can push this out very quickly. And you can even draw the geo-targets and stuff like that via this interface. So a lot of cool, exciting functionality, very robust package, integrates with what we have already. And we're pretty excited about it. They give us an implementation timeline of about 6 weeks from the minute we say go. So I think it'll be less than that because we've got some work to do on our end. We have to get together. The stakeholders have to get together and talk about what channels do we want to present. Of course, we may want like road closure channel, utility work, special events, sports and rec. Could be an unlimited number of channels. And so we just want to figure out how to do that. And of course, we're going to have some training. Those stakeholders behind the scenes from each department will be given extensive training on how to use this. And again, that's what breathes life into this. It's a great tool, but we must use it. And as much information as we're putting out there, which is great, we want that to be coming straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, each of those departments that wants to communicate with the people that this affects. So very cool, and I know that was fast. Another little plug real quick, we have a website redesign coming very soon. So as part of that Civic Plus package, we've been with them for over 10 years, I think now. We get a freshening every 5 years. And so now that I think of it, it's been more than 10 years because we've had a couple of freshenings. So that's in process right now. So not only is it just going to be a graphical update that's going to make it just look nicer and cleaner and more modern, we've also looked at the analytics to see where people are going. And so we know they like agendas. We know they like court and PD and sanitation for sure. So we're going to rearrange some buttons and make it a little more user friendly. So I think that this launch will dovetail with that. And then we got super cool features that these guys are putting out there. So we're about to have some really cool stuff out there for people to become informed with.
So neat, so neat. Okay, questions for Joe?
When's this go on?
About 6 weeks after.
Board meeting on Tuesday.
Yep, that's right.
Anything? Cool. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you so much. I think this is just neatest stuff at all. Love it. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Okay, so, and we do have a fairly robust agenda. We got 3 sets of minutes. Mark, you looked at those minutes?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
All good?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody can sit on those? Okay. We've got some employees that we'll be introducing. And Chief Nichols, former Chief Nichols, is going to be presenting a Start Vegas Juneteenth committee. He wants to come make a presentation, so he's put in to do that, so we'll be listening to that as a part of our public appearances. We've got several public hearings. The variance on the setback requirements for accessory structure at 109 Oak Ridge, and Daniel, that is the building that...
Yes, the gentleman started building a shed, workshop, so to speak, and without a permit. And where he located it, it's on the side of the building, adjacent to the neighbor's bedroom window. So he had to get a variance from the setback to continue, in addition to obtaining building permits. And during the course of that meeting, the neighbor showed up, expressed his concerns. The Board of Adjustments Appeals unanimously approved it, but with 2 conditions that were related to mitigating some of the issues of it. One was removing a window from facing their house, and then insulating the wall to help soundproof it.
Okay, all right, but we'll be having a public hearing on that, so that's
Yes.
just a little bit of information ahead of time, and that information obviously in your packet. And we've got 4, count them 4, 21-19-11 projects, which are gonna be structures at 725 South Jackson, 202 and 203 McKinley, and then 212 West Gillespie. So all of those will be public hearings that we had called for, not last meeting, but the meeting prior to that. And so there's a lot of documentation. Ms. Harden says there's like 500 pages in this packet, so it's a fairly thick packet, but a lot of them are some of the same pictures and some of the same duplications, but we still need to do that from a record keeping standpoint. So those will be all for public hearing and consideration, so nothing that we can do anything other than be aware of at this particular time. Okay, so the next 2, I didn't think I was gonna have any business this time, but I had expected that the federal grant application process would be a month long. I got notification this week that the March the 10th deadline for these applications has got to be met, so, or else they won't be considered at all. So I've been scrambling to put together resolutions supporting water infrastructure improvements. I talked to Supervisor Trainer and Mr. Kemp. The 2 water projects, one is for Owens Point Road, the other one for Bluefield. Well, $5 million is the cap for the most part for any of these applications for these grants. So I asked Mr. Kemp which one he wanted to choose, and he said that he would prefer doing Bluefield, and that it's the potential for the most growth. It's also the largest of it, and so I called Supervisor Trainer and asked him if that was acceptable to them, because I'm asking Tillamook County to take the lead on this. We'll do it as a joint project, but I think we might get more traction with the federal folks if we do it as with them taking that lead and us joining in. So this is a resolution supporting their submission of this CPF grant from the it's State and Tribal Assistance Grant, I think is the name of it. It's called STAG. But it's for that, and that's that resolution. And the second one is our resolution in support of the submission of a same community grant to do the sewer project that is in the newly annexed area. So, maybe we'll get lucky and get both. We might not get any, but, if you don't ask, you don't get. So, both of these are resolutions in support of those 2 separate projects, but, again, one led by Tillamook County and one fronting us. So,
These are both projects that we would be doing at some point anyway.
yes.
And bearing 100% of the cost for
As
ourselves.
opposed to 20% of the cost. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so, and basically it's just, doing the whereases and these are the reasons for it and all that sort of stuff, so. Now, can wait, or you can do consent, up to y'all. Consent? Consent. Okay, all right, we'll do that now. Then under department, Mr. Rodney, Mr. Lincoln is not here, but, these are all just basic things. This is the widening of the taxiway. Because we've had people who have you've been to those meetings. You can probably speak to this better than I can, but we had somebody who went off the taxiway.
So all the SEC schools and some of those schools, big sock, 2 miles, transport continues back and forth, it's there. And we've actually had 2 of them going off of the taxiway turning in to the ramp, and I've got pictures. When they get stuck, it's made to fly jack down and jack the plane up, tow it out with a good aircraft. So they pretty hard is coming with some drawings, just to widen this entryway into the ramp off the taxiway. And well, just sort of neat.
Yeah, well, we want to keep those folks coming in and feel good about coming in.
Yeah, the Kentucky plane the other night, I had unloaded right there.
Ooh, ouch. Okay, so, consent for that, okay? The second one is the lease agreement, and Burke, you've looked at that lease agreement, you're good with that? Consent for that one? This is a renewal, so nothing we haven't done before. Then we've got acceptance of a grant, and we definitely want to do this. There's a $4.5 million grant. They're just throwing money at the airport, which is really wonderful for us. So, acceptance of that consent, okay? Under the community development, Mr. Hamlin, once again, we have a final plat approval. This is an aggregation, so it's a really simple.
Yes, ma'am, it's just a removal of a lot line between 2 lots so that they could build their house, and then, and this house is interesting, they want to build a really robust garden in the front, so.
Consent for that, okay? And then, sole proposal for Jackson State for, the creation of the Starkville Historic Civil Rights Brochure. So, Mr. McCaskey has been working on that. Anything you wish to add to that?
So basically, this is going to be based off of the previous grant that we did through Mississippi Department of Archives and History. So it's going to be based off of the Architectural Survey of the Historic African American Resources in Starkville. So basically, it's taking what was a much larger report, and this institute, the Margaret Institute over at Jackson State University, is basically taking all that information, condensing it down into a more consumer-friendly pamphlet that then we can also integrate with some of our mapping features as information about important places in Starkville, in particular to the civil rights movement.
Super. Okay, great. Consent for that? Okay. Claims docket will pass by, and then we've got a revised mechanical HVAC service agreement. And Burke, you looked at that one as well?
It was the renewal, it's a automatic renewal, but they have revised the cost about $400, the chief and I
So that's
both.
the only thing that they've changed, is that cost?
It's about $400 more a year per building.
All right, consent for that, and Burke, if you take a look at it, if anything comes up, we can certainly pull it. Fire department is, this is great, this is that fire department grant with the turnout gear, which is really nice that we received that too, so consent for that one. And under HR, we hired some folks, and, Mr. Ashford, there's only one, well, actually, they're all replacements, aren't they?
They're all replacements except one, and there's a promotion process in the fire department.
Okay, Mr. Weaver is the promotion to the rank of sergeant. So we have sanitation environmental services, principal systems administrator for IT. Mr. Grice is rejoining us. He thought we were wonderful and coming back. So, Shauna Cunningham is administrative assistant to police. Colton Birmingham is a police officer. And what is that going to take us to from a police standpoint? Are we going to be, how far off are we going to be in terms of manning, staffing level?
We're still 15 now.
Still 15 now? Entry-level firefighters, consent for that one. This is the promotion. And then we have a hire of John Scott as the assistant manager in Starkville Utilities. If you recall, Mr. Jacob Forrester left us, and this has been vacant for that period of time. So, consent for that. Noah Jones is apprentice lineman. And then Charles Jordan is water distribution supervisor. So that mans Mr. Kemp up pretty well. IT, we've got the mass texting that we just saw, so excited about that. And then parks, we've got we had to make a change to the pedestal for the Cool Papa Bell sculpture. So that had to be engineered, so consent for that one? Right. And under police, we've got an MOU for the LPRs. Anything about that in particular, Chief?
No, ma'am, I mean, this is a template applied with all the municipalities that wish to use LPRs on videos.
Okay, all right. Any issue with that, Bert? Consent, I believe I heard consent. Declaring a Hyundai surplus and advertising for sale, which is always good. And then we have Corporal Jackson needs to attend a computer investigative specialist, and this is a reimbursement. Is that correct, Chief? Consent for that. All right, code enforcement. We have two more. This will be at 617 West Main and 109 Roosevelt Taylor. And this is calling for a public hearing on the determination of the 21-19-11. So consent for those. All right, thank you. Under utilities, we have the sole source quote, and Edwin, I'm gonna let you roll with these because you've got quite a number of pieces on here. The sole source quote for the next gen gatekeepers. Any explanation that you want to provide?
The board's actually already approved the purchase of these back in the earlier last year, and they've gone up on their price pretty significantly. So we had to come back and get authorization on that. Unfortunately, they're the sole source, so we don't have a lot of option. And that's similar for number 2 as well.
Consent for 1 and 2, both of those. Okay. And then authorization to approve contract for communication support, and that is checking, right?
This is our website support.
Yes.
Provides ongoing media support, stories, updates our social medias, profiles as well. So.
And you can warn him, I'm gonna make an appointment with him to see what kind of deal we might get to use him for the city for expanding that footprint for his expertise. So we'll sit down and talk about it.
Sure.
So, consent for that one? Is it the same amount as?
Same
last
amount.
time? I didn't change?
This has been several years in a row.
Yes. Okay. Request for RFPs for professional service for substation maintenance and testing. Share a little bit of that.
Yeah, just regular ongoing. This is more proactive, preventative maintenance, similar to what you would do with your vehicle. Checking our breakers, checking our battery levels, checking our gas levels that help do all the cooling. Just a lot of working components and trying to make sure we extend the life of those as long as we can.
And you anticipate this to be a shorter term?
Yeah, this will be for a year, but hopefully in the future we can take more of this in-house.
Okay, all right. Consent for that, okay. Lowest quote from Bill Russell on the Ford.
This is again, been struggling with getting vehicles. We're waiting on state contract to open up back this past October. They didn't honor their price. They basically canceled all the orders, so now we're going out and getting 2 quotes for vehicles, and this was the low quote for that one. Yes, sir.
And then the same thing is true of the Wren Body Works issue?
This was a bed that is going to go on the back of our wastewater treatment that's going to pull pumps at our mobile lift stations. So it has a crane. We had it approved back in October in conjunction with a state contract vehicle. They didn't honor the vehicle, so we had to go find another vehicle. And in the meantime, the price of the bed has gone up over 10%. So this is an update for that.
And the next one is really good news. This is the bid for the Main Street water and sewer improvements, and they came in within the budget. You know, before we had done it, and we went out for a rebid. So this one came in a way that we can accept it. So
Yeah,
I'm really excited about that. I was worried.
Great news about this, and we will be, as soon as we obviously get the contract executed, have a pre-construction conference with the contractor. We'll start putting out regular real-time updates to the folks who've signed up for the email group
Well, and
list.
perhaps we can use our platform over that period of that development and put information out there as well as do maybe an overlay on the map, show what's happening.
Where's that contractor from?
The Gulf Coast, and they're actually up here working in a project in Lowndes County, and I think that was how we were able to entice them to come over and bid with ours. My understanding.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Okay, consent for that one? Okay. Lowest quote for surge arresters. Okay. Lowest quote for elevator repair.
This is the elevator at the main office. It's been down for a few months now.
It's awful you've been having to use the stairs.
Fine with me. I need the steps. I need the walking. So.
All right, consent for that one? All right, and then last but not least, we have you need to do a little bit of work on this one. Share this so everybody will understand.
Yeah, we have some mechanical problems with our aerators at the wastewater treatment plant. We have a good number of current we're renting a good number of floating aerators from the same company right now. We had our last permanent unit that stopped working probably about 3 weeks ago. We do have a plan to get the aeration back as quickly as possible, but in order to get the parts here, in order to get contractors lined up to help fix them, it's going to be a little bit later on this month. If you also remember, the board has approved the purchase of 5 total floating aerators that we're purchasing, so we won't be renting anymore. These will help supplement our current permanent aerators until we find a long-term solution on fixing these. It's been really a frustrating, I guess, process, because this was part of the project in conjunction with the solar houses, that we thought we had a good finished long-term product, but it just has not worked. And the manufacturer has essentially stopped servicing them. So we're to the point where we're having to take matters into our own hands, and that's a recent development. So we are we have 1 of the 5 purchased aerators online. The other 4 should come at the end of this month, and then we're going to try to do some temporary short-term fixes to get 2 of the 6 permanent aerators back up and running.
And to be perfectly brutally frank about it, we are having to employ some legal action to see if we can get into some sort of agreement with the provider. So we're looking at doing that.
Yeah, and getting some complaints about odor, and this is the cause of it. We're working as hard as we can on this and using all available resources we
And
have.
we've notified MDQ, so we're in constant contact for that, but that's part of the problem, and it's a problem, so we're working on it. Okay, that's it, guys. Any questions with any of that? All right, thanks, everybody. We will conclude our Facebook Live and look forward to